Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at a new Tier 8 German premium battleship. Well, it's really more of a battle cruiser. This is the Anhalt. And yes, this is the rear of the ship. As you can see, when the designers were asking how many turrets do you want on this thing, the answer was a resounding yes. Now, according to the Wargaming Wiki, this was a proposal that was actually made to the Kaiser and the Naval Consortium in 1916. And it was decided not to build these. I haven't really found any evidence of that, but maybe I just haven't looked at the right places. But this was supposed to be a successor to the Bayern class. Now, interestingly enough, the Bayern class was a battleship. And all the successor designs for the Bayern class, so the L1, L2, and L3 designs, were actual battleships, and they were supposed to have 382 420mm guns, whereas this thing rocks 350mm guns, the same that would have been found on the Mackensen, which had been cancelled, which was a battle cruiser. Now, the battle cruisers had gone down the Alsace-York route, and as far as I know, also these things were supposed to have larger guns than the Mackensens. So I am not certain about this, but well, I'll take the word for it for now. A never realized design of an increased length battle cruiser with 15 Mackensen style guns. Also, the Germans did not really favor triple turrets at the time. So anyway, not the first ship that is not quite aligned with historical reality. So we'll take it as an alternative history at the worst, and at best I just haven't seen the design. So if you've seen it anywhere, I would be glad to have a link. Anyway, let us begin and see what this thing is all about then. Because Tier 8 is chock full of things, premium ships and everything. We actually do have a bit of a choice to compare her to. So the Anhalt, obviously named after the Duchy of Anhalt, which is now part of the state of Saxony-Anhalt, is, we'll compare her to the Brandenburg. Because the Brandenburg also has got a lot of guns. And the first thing that we notice is that in the HUT lottery, the Anhalt has drawn the Italian scout plane, but not an awful lot else. So while the Brandenburg does get the typical sonar that you normally find on German battleships, and a relatively decent precise aim to compensate for the awful dispersion that the main guns have until you get into ranges where you don't need it, and even a defensive AA, the Anhalt gets a scout plane. The Anhalt is not the most well-armored of battle cruisers, but she does have a relatively decent hit point pool. And there seems to be some inspiration drawn from the British battle cruisers to be applied to these things. First of all, yes, she is very slow, with 24 knots at Tier 8. That's not a lot. That is very, very slow. The engines are dreadful, with 30 seconds time to full speed, and the turn time isn't great either, but the traverse speed is abysmal. So a very sluggish ship, armed with 5 triple turrets of 350mm guns, and on paper these look good. They've got a slightly longer range than Brandenburg's 305s, they do a bit more damage. The turret traverse speed, English Terry, do you speak it? With 4.5 degrees per second is, well, classic World War I, slowness of things. And she gets secondaries. Now, on paper, these look very, very similar. They've got the exact same stats, but these are 8 single casemate guns, and not the 6 twins that you normally find on these sort of ships. Similarly, with the auto secondaries, 105mm, they do the exact same thing, but we don't have an awful lot of them. So this is not a brawler, then, is it? Well, she has torpedoes. And again, this is where the British battle cruiser inspiration has been drawn from. These are underwater launchers, typical of relatively old Dreadnought class battleships, when everybody thought that you would be fighting other battleships in torpedo range. And these 4 single launchers, you get 2 on each side, are definitely underwater launchers. They do a lot of damage. These are pretty big torpedoes. And that's actually something that the Germans were considering, 700 millimeter torpedoes. But they are very slow, and they only have a 5.4 kilometer range. So that is sort of the brawling capability. The problem obviously being that even if you manage to get both torpedoes on target, you're still doing comprehensively less of an alpha strike than the quad launcher of the Brandenburg, which also has a better range. The AA for Tier 8 is pretty meh, so you are going to suffer greatly from carriers, and the concealment is sort of average with 11 kilometers. Let's compare her to the Odin, one of the really, really good battle cruisers at Tier 8. Obviously, the Odin gets the secondary overload, as has been introduced to most German brawlers, and other than that, the relatively standard setup. The Odin has almost 10,000 hit points less than this thing, but in return has a slightly better armor. And the Odin is not a particularly well-armored ship, but the Odin is significantly more maneuverable than this thing. And the 305s on the Odin can actually hit quite a bit harder than the 350s on the Anhalt. And we'll get to the guns in a minute, but on paper, well, they do a little bit less damage, but not actually an awful lot. The secondaries, again, on the Odin, you get 6, but they're in turrets, whereas the 8 ones are in casemates. So you only get 4 secondaries on each side on the Anhalt. And yes, the Odin has the Tier 10 auto secondaries, the hilarious Großer Kurfürst ones in Tier 8, which are great fun, have a good range. And obviously the Odin also gets better torpedoes, which, as we've seen, do more damage. And the Odin, who no one's going to be accusing of having great AA, has better AA than this thing. And obviously a significantly better concealment. And the Odin is a lot smaller than this thing as well. So you might be, if you've been paying close attention to the inflection in my voice, come to the conclusion that this is not a particularly great ship. And you'd be not wrong. But let's go through the details, shall we? You get 2 choices. You can either go with the advanced turret, which is basically a free turret rotation module, or you can go for a slightly better reload and a slightly better turret traverse. And I'm going to go with this one, because the base reload is 24 seconds on these 350s. That is a long time. And especially given for a ship that is not necessarily secondary focused. So you do get the choice to fit the secondary battery mod 2, which is the German special one, which gives you dispersion on the secondaries and range. And it's not bad. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. But these 150mm casemate secondaries, they are poor. They will struggle to full penetrate a battleship's bow section at point blank range. And the auto secondaries, there's not an awful lot of them, and they don't have the greatest range either. So it's kind of nice if you do find yourself in a brawling situation. But with 24 knots base speed, you're also not particularly well suited to ambushing anybody, at least not very quickly. So I actually fitted the main battery mod 3, because this thing feels, especially with the scout plane, that it's all about the main guns. And then the standard setup for a battleship. And no, I have not done the concealment module on this one. You could, but the ship is so sluggish that I figured I'm going to try and go with steering here. I don't think it makes a massive difference. Now, once again, I have played with 2 commanders. One full setup legendary commander von Hipper here, and one regular commander up at, I think, level 9. Yeah, level 9 to get the better secondaries. So after testing this, I would actually almost argue that von Hipper is the wrong commander for this ship. You could probably go with Scheer on this, because this more resembles a British battle cruiser than a German battleship. Because Scheer does get the improved survivalist, and the reason I've tried von Hipper here was because of the close quarters combat expert, and obviously because the APCS plus. The APCS plus does not help these guns. These 350s struggle, and they struggle hard. Even against bottom tier battleships, even against Amagis, these guns are struggling really hard to make any kind of impact. So even the improved APCS from von Hipper doesn't help. So you may as well go for the, actually, especially that you don't get the marksman skill, you may actually go for a fully prepared. So let's quickly do that. This is not how have played the ship, but this is how I would, after testing a couple of battles, would actually probably end up setting it up. Again, I don't think it makes a massive difference. It's just that von Hipper's skills are not going to be the thing that you really, really need. So if we were to set up share for this ship, I'd definitely go here and torpedo alert. I would probably use the high alert plus instead of the artillery maintenance, but it's a tough call. I mean, the damage control kit cooldown is really nice, especially the legendary one, but the artillery maintenance expert for slightly better dispersion, especially if you're having to fight at long ranges, might not be a bad choice here. And then Victorious Charge, obviously, you do want the Survivalist Plus, and you can also use the Fully Prepared. And I would probably even use Generalist Plus, because this thing does not have sonar. And yes, Exploit Weakness is generally a good one, but this one gives more hit points. And I'd even be tempted to just go with Demo Expert here. And then, yes, you do want APCS, and you do want the Horizontal Protection Expert. But this is how I would set up share after testing on this ship. A very, very similar build to something that you would be doing on a British battlecruiser. So, but yes, I have tested with von Hipper just to see what these guns are capable of with the best armor-piercing boost that is available. And the first game is played with regular consumables, the second game with the premium consumables. But the one thing we haven't looked at is the camouflage. Actually, the two things we haven't looked at is the camouflage, because this is a premium ship and it gets extra camos. So you get the historical camo, which gives hit points, main battery range, secondary range, and torpedo range. I would have loved to not have the secondary range here, because honestly, the secondaries are not great on this ship. I would have loved to get the dispersion here. There is the unique camo if you want to make your ship look. I don't know. I don't even know what that is, but if you want to make it look, or if you don't mind making it look like that, you trade the torpedo range, which is great, for torpedo damage reduction, which you don't need, and you trade the secondary range for main battery dispersion, which is good, which is what I just suggested, but you're also losing the torpedo range for an absolutely useless torpedo damage reduction. So yeah, it's a choice. But I have been playing with the historical camo because I can't be seen dead in that, and I probably would have been. Anyhow, so yeah, 350mm guns, lots of them, relatively slow reload, hilariously bad dispersion at times, and not the best secondary firepower, not an awful lot of armor, a very slow ship. So I think what's happening here is that somebody looked at the numbers and said, well, we've got 15 main guns on this thing. We're going to need to remove capability everywhere else. And that's probably that's pretty much what they've done. Ship skills have been reduced. There's nothing. It's just the scout plane, which is nice. But trying to hit something at long ranges with these guns can be an effort. The secondaries don't really shine. The torpedoes are kind of gimmicky. They're nice to have. They do a lot of damage in close range engagements, but it's relatively rare that you actually use them. And yeah, it's all about the main guns, and the main guns aren't that glorious. So, enough of me ranting. The thing is, this is a premium German Tier 8 battleship. And there's a lot of competition. So, let's see her in action. First battle, standard setup, regular consumables, regular captain. Second battle, premium consumables and not share, but von Hipper, just to show you what these guns can and can't do, even with APCS+. First battle, Epicenter on Frozen Shelter, and it's a carrier battle. August von Parzival, Massachusetts, Roma, Nagato, Edinburgh, Kagero, and Akatsuki. So we are top tier, but we are also in a uncomfortably slow German battlecruiser. In fact, the 350s with armor piercing at anything but point-blank range are actually relatively capable against enemy destroyers. That's how low the penetration is. But remember, this is the battle without the IPCS, so just your standard captain setup. And this is also not particularly well suited as a captain trainer or for sharing captains with the other ships, because you're lacking most of the standard German fare. She doesn't get a sonar, she doesn't get the precise aiming, and she actually probably needs a health build in order to make the best of it and survive for the longest, similar to, again, the British battlecruisers. But for now, we are making our way, and I'm considering to go left flank here, making our way into the outer ring. I would love to go between these islands, get some flanking shots into any destroyers behind the center island, and unfortunately, it looks like the rest of my team has the exact same idea. So the Shimanto, the Z23, and whatever else cruiser we had there. The Harbin. Yeah, they're all going left. So, and that battleship. So the other battleship on our right is completely exposed here, which means I am probably gonna have to change sides here. And yeah, there's Kagero. So we'll see if we can do something about him. But yeah, I'm gonna flip sides here just to. Oh, he's been running into some Kagero torpedoes, has he? You've got sonar, my man. How's that working? Or was these? Maybe these were plane dropped. I'm not sure. But there's the Akatsuki. So now we got the secondaries in action, and yeah, it's 4 of them. But Akatsuki sailing out in the open in front of my guns is not going to do him particularly well. Oh yeah, and obviously the ship is affected by the turret bug, so there's that. But yeah, there come the torpedoes, and I'm already in reverse, but the engines are so dreadful that even with the engine module, I'm not managing to get completely out of the range of these torpedoes. Okay, but there's a Roma. Let's get a slightly better view. And get the main guns on target against a fully broadsiding Roma at 11 kilometers. And that wasn't bad. That was a pretty good salvo, actually. But the AA is blasting away. But nothing spectacular. But it was okay, I would say. As salvos go, there's also the Massachusetts that we can take on next, because I don't think I actually have angles at the Roma. So if you're sitting broadside onto this thing, you might get a couple of full penetrations in and actually end up doing a little bit of damage. And our Z23 has died, unfortunately, to fire set by the Kagero's guns of all, which means that Kagero is now sitting there and not really having any more threats that it needs to deal with, except for the cruiser on our side, which is why he's already in reverse, but no one's shooting at him. Well, the Harbin is shooting at him. And I am trying to get myself into a position from where I can actually help out. I'm not sure. The Kagero is mildly undecided, but so is the Harbin. He can't commit because he's got all the battleships coming down that way, and he's got the carrier after him. And yes, team, I would love to see that Kagero dead, and I'd love to do something about it. But again, I have to try and use my relatively poor engines to to reverse out of these torpedoes, and again, not completely managing it. Not having a sonar doesn't help, but the Harbin has taken out the Kagero. Well done. Unfortunately, we are not holding any of the capture circles because the rest of my team is sailing around the long way. And it looks like one of our battleships is actually AFK. So we'll do what we can here. Let's see what we can do against that Roma over there. Get a couple of shots out. And I am already down to one heal, so yeah, there's that. Maybe Harbin can make something happen here. But Roma is now going behind the island. So again, I'm getting myself a little bit of a better angle and see if I can catch that Massachusetts. And he survives. Oh, okay, Harbin gets him. Nice. I thought he would survive on no hit points. So well done, Harbin. And now, please capture the center. Capture the center ring. That would be great. I'll take on the Roma. I can take on the Roma. While that cruiser over there is trying to kick our AFK battleship to death. I am going to... He's probably going to try and torpedo him, which doesn't work against AFK ships. So I am, even at 6 kilometers, struggling to penetrate a Roma. I don't even get started with the secondaries. So that is going to hurt, but I do survive. I am not in torpedo range, as Roma is actually reversing at this point, but I do have a heal coming. And it's desperately needed. So shots out, and then the heal. And Roma is dead. And has not managed to get another shot off. Yes, I see you over there, Mr. Well, who are you? Edinburgh, yes. You've finally given up trying to kick the AFK battleship to death, have you? Now, I am out of heals. I am at 12,000 hit points. That is in Edinburgh. I have 15. I have 15 350mm main guns. That is a light cruiser at 8 kilometer range. He's almost in secondary range. But, yeah. Not really an awful lot happening, and the Edinburgh now obviously knows better than actually trying to get any closer to me than that. And he doesn't need to. He can perfectly fine just kill me from over there, even without torpedoes, because, yeah, these 150s, they do work. And I am again trying to get another salvo off and see if I can get a couple of hits in at least against the Edinburgh, but that would be a negative. And he's taken out one of my gun turrets, by all means. There's the August von Parseval over there, so I can't hide because his planes are keeping me spotted. I am trying to do as much damage as possible to that Edinburgh, but at this range, even with a slightly better view angle from the scout planes, there's just not an awful lot that I can do. And there comes the August von Parseval, and that is probably the end of me. Yeah, so... Did what I could. We're still ahead on points, however. So, just barely. So, if they can hold on, if the carrier can hold on for, the Shokaku can hold on, and I think we'll be having enough points for even if the Shokaku dies. But Edinburgh now goes after the Shokaku. Obviously, single-fire torpedoes, and the Shokaku has dodged those. So, I think at this point we have enough of a points lead, thanks to my team actually finally capturing the capture circles. Well done, Harbin. I think that was you, after I called it out. That even if the Shokaku goes down, we would still make it. And I don't think the Edinburgh is going to have the time to kill the Shokaku. So that was reasonably close. And actually, Shimanto has done relatively well on our team. So good on you. Yeah, I have been fighting in relatively close ranges at times, and 66,000 points of damage is not terrible, but it's also not grand. So for a premium German Tier 8 battleship, let's try with armor piercing cap shell plus and see if we can make these main guns a little bit more punchy. And we are playing base capture on Encounter against Double Amagi, Colorado, Shimanto, a Hipper, Double Hipper, and a Kagero. Given that we have an Ibuki on our team, and an Azuma, and an Atlantico, and the enemy team's got a failed division with the Colorado in here, who's actually a Tier 7 in a Tier 9 game, we might be standing a chance here. Let's go. So we definitely have the benefit of premium ships, and we'll see what we can make happen here. And the enemy team's going to have their work cut out for them, I hope. But we've got two cruisers. We've got Ibuki and Azuma here. So we can't really tank very well in this thing, but I do have enough hit points to do the occasional, just drawing some fire, and hopefully the cruisers can make use of that and can capitalize that. The big question is going to be, obviously, where is the Kagero? Kagero is... Well, he's either going down the eastern flank or he's coming down my way. And I will know. I'm not sure. Probably Hipper can outspot me as well, but the Kagero definitely can. So if I'm going to be spotted early on, then the Kagero is here. So, keeping my eyes on the left, just for the turret bug. And I'm detected. So Kagero is probably around here-ish. And was I off by a lot? There he is. Told ya. He's not coming my way, but that doesn't mean... Yeah, there come the torpedoes. I knew it. Okay. So we're already in reverse, but again, terrible engines. Long-range shots out. We might be able to... Well, we're probably going to take 2 torpedoes here. That's not it's not great, but it's not terrible. And we are starting to do a little bit more on the full penetration side against an Amagi. Now, no one's gonna accuse the Amagi of being particularly well armored, but still, I do have the Mackinson's tier 6 guns more or less here. And now I'm starting to draw some fire. That would be the Sixth Sense skill. And yeah, nope, not really doing anything against that Amagi either. And I'm already down the first heal because I'm starting to take fire from 3 ships, which is okay. That's what I'm here for. I'm a battleship, well, a battle cruiser. But there's the enemy Shimanto, and we do want to see if we can do something about that thing, because that's a fire starter and a half. And yeah, that hurts a bit more. But now obviously I do have to again dodge torpedoes, because that thing also has got torps. And I am still drawing fire from that whole defensive group over there. So hopefully my cruisers can actually make themselves a little bit useful. That would be lovely. I mean, it's an Amagi, a Colorado, and a Shimanto. Probably the Shimanto is the most dangerous. Oh no, and an Admiral Hipper. The Shimanto is the most dangerous out of them. But at this range, even with APCS Plus, I'm just not really doing an awful lot. And Azuma is giving broadside to all these guys, and I would not do that. Okay, let's try to focus the Hipper down. Nah, Hipper is already turning away. I don't really have the range. I mean, that Amagi is almost stationary, so I'm gonna get a full broadside off, 14 max range, 14 kilometers, at a stationary Amagi. Let's see how many of these shots are actually gonna land on target. From these 15, that would be 3. Yep. All right. I think my Ibuki is now starting to draw a little bit of attention, and we have taken down 2 of the enemy ships already, so that's not too bad. Ibuki's torpedoes have completely missed, and I'm still trying to kick that Amagi to death. I am doing something, but it's taking a while. We're halfway through the battle, and I haven't really done an awful lot. Now I am going to get flanking shots at that Hipper over there, so I could. Go in. I have no idea where that Azuma went. We had an Azuma just not too long ago. Where'd he go? What is he talking about? Defend the base. We're full on in the assault. I mean, that Mogami is gonna die against the Hipper, yes, but I've got flanking shots at the Hipper. There's no reason to be back there. He's not gonna cap us out. And unfortunately, that seems to have attracted the attention of at least one of our battleships on the eastern flank. So now our team is splitting up. Mogami is almost dead. We have lost our destroyer, and I've got a Hipper at 9 kilometers. That is a cruiser. I'm just saying. That is a cruiser at 9 kilometers. Okay, it's a German cruiser, but still. Fully broadsiding cruiser, 9 kilometers. APCS Plus, max build. Last heal coming in. So this is all I'm going to get. I'm going to push, because this is all I can do. I'm committed at this point. I can't turn around this. And I have no idea what that Azuma is doing. There's nothing in our capture circle. The enemy Kagero is dead. What are you looking for? And we've completely lost our eastern flank, and I'm still trying to get that Hipper killed. Okay, Azuma got the Hipper. Nice, well done. So I'm going to try and buy the Ibuki enough time to get a couple torpedoes in. Maybe we can finish off at least that Amagi over there. 15 guns out. He is in the turn, however, and yeah, 1 hit. Okay, I've got Colorado to deal with, but Colorado is bow in, so he's only getting half his guns on target, or no, 2/3 of his guns. Obviously, triple fire from the Shimanto, so there goes my Damacon. They're going to be Shimanto torpedoes. And there's another Amagi. Am I going to get another shot at that Amagi? I'm going to give it one more try, but the next one goes into that bottom tier battleship, by the way. Bottom tier battleship. He is, I believe, reversing. There come the Shimanto torpedoes. So torpedo drop and... torpedo drop on him on the other side. You do have very good torpedo angles, and yeah, I am going to die. There's absolutely no question about that, which is generally okay if it buys my team some time. Unfortunately, my team is dead. So let's try to do something about the Colorado, and even at point blank range against the deck armor of a Colorado with APCS Plus, these 350s do absolutely nothing. I get 1 torpedo hit in on the Colorado, which isn't quite enough, which means that it's now just Ibuki and Azuma who's remaining, and Ibuki is If I had managed to take down the Colorado, yeah, still wouldn't have had a chance. I think, unless I don't think he stands a chance even against that Shimanto, but not with 3 battleships over there remaining. And Azuma is way too far away to make any contribution here. So Ibuki's going to try and torpedo the Shimanto. The Shimanto's going to see that coming. I mean, he's in a Japanese cruiser. He knows what these things can do. He's already turning. There he goes. He's already turning. So Ibuki torpedoes are going to miss. Yep. Because he aims them the other direction, and is going to run into Shimanto torpedoes unless he is actually taken out by the battleship. Nope, Shimanto torpedoes him. That just leaves Azuma, who is now very alone, and that is the end of the battle pretty much. I mean, we've done 86,000 points of damage. Going in, all guns blazing. Is the Anhalt a bad ship? It's an okay ship. The problem is, an okay ship at tier 8 is a bit of a problem, because an okay ship at tier 8 absolutely gets overshadowed by pretty much everything else that is out there at tier 8. That is pretty excellent. So, should you be getting the Anhalt? Well, in my opinion, if you're looking for a tier 8 premium German battleship, there are better choices. It's an okay ship. You can have the occasional fun battle. Just don't expect to be doing any secondary brawl sort of damage. It's all about the main guns on this thing. The dispersion is not great, no matter what you try to do with it. And really, I'm not super convinced. I think the latest mix of making a British battle cruiser into a specific German setup, with the only ship skill being a scout plane, I think it's just not an awful lot that you can do with this thing, and it's okay, but okay at tier 8, especially for a premium that's gonna cost, unless they release that in the Blitz Pass, for example, then you know what you're getting. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.